I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order for Thursday, April 8th. Roll call, please, Terry.
Mayor Kodowski.
Here.
Jay Krieger.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
Mike Skippington.
Here.
And it looks like Allen, Jim Allen, Steve Kabacki, and Corey Campbell are excused.
Okay, please stand for the pledge.
Oh, Corey's online now.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember all our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need motion to approve.
Move to approve as presented. Second.
Motion and a second to present the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
You.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes from the regular meeting of March 2nd, 2021.
Move to approve. Second that.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Must state name and address. Limited to 5 minutes. The board's role is to listen and not discuss the item. Personnel items cannot be discussed nor individuals named. Board is not able to take action at this meeting. Are there any comments from the public on items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to action items. A, action regarding site plan review for Anduzzi's patio, 1992 Holmgren Way, parcel VA-41-5. Aaron.
Okay. As identified in the staff report, Anduzzi's is proposing to add an outdoor patio to the front of their existing bar and restaurant on Holmgren Way. I'll bring up an overhead view of it right here. As identified on the screen, what you see there is the green area will be a turf type material. It'll have outdoor seating, fireplaces, as well as on the north side, a shipping container that will serve as a stage area, and a second shipping container to the south here that will serve as a bar. In terms of review of the proposal, Ashwaubenon Public Safety did request that the bar area be moved further to the north because this is actually a dedicated fire lane along the south side of the building. In terms of the overall site plan, looking at 5,700 square feet or so. This will take up existing parking in the front of the building. However, they do have more than adequate parking around the building as well as the additional lot further to the south. If you may recall, probably about 3 years ago, we did eliminate parking minimums within the sports entertainment district and village center districts to accommodate some more dense development necessary for the area to succeed, provided a parking plan is in place. And what's proposed certainly meets the standards for that. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, from engineering, confirmed there's not a utility easement west of the Holmgren Way right-of-way, so that's right in this area along here. Water and sewer services, and this is a note to the really to the builder and the owner. Water and sewer services to the building run through this area. If there's a service issue in the future, it would disturb the patio area. From public safety, shift the bar container to the north out of the designated fire lane. And then also coordinate with Ashwaubenon Public Safety regarding fire lane markings. That's just something to notice while they're out there on site taking a look at it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, Andy Szymanski of Anduzzi is also in the audience.
I was just wondering if the bar and the band move after they're, they're always there. Are they movable? Are you going to connect water to these and sewer, etc.?
I'll probably defer that to Andy. Andy, if you wouldn't mind just coming on up.
My name is Andy Szymanski, 2295 Lost Dolphin Road, De Pere, Wisconsin. In answer to your question, there will be utilities run to them. There will be semi-permanent. We don't have intentions of moving them, so there will be utilities hooked up to them. It will not be plumbed, though.
It will not.
No, sir.
Question I had, I'm kind of surprised, did public safety have any issue with that being open to the road in the front? I was wondering if they would require some fencing so that the crowd can't be spilling out, because the roadway is right there. That would, on the front side. The north and the south, but on that east side, I'm just wondering about any sort of fencing. I'm kind of surprised public safety wasn't concerned about that.
So this was probably, I don't know, probably a year or two ago, we did change our standards to where we don't require the kind of the ugly bicycle fencing. You maybe see temporary fencing once in a while. So these are planters through here.
Yeah.
A rendering we have right here. There will be signage as well stating no alcohol past this point, as required under our ordinance. So talking with APS, there weren't any concerns with that. Obviously, it's incumbent upon the property owner to maintain proper crowd control.
Because I just would be concerned, even with the alcohol, I mean, you're going to have a sign on every one of them planters because people can skip out any place. That's why, yeah, that'd be my only concern with it, is I can see where people can spill out that direction. Other than that, I think it's a great addition.
I have to say, Jay, that since we've changed up the ordinance, that it doesn't require that solid fencing.
Right.
Every establishment that does that with the planter type thing, they do a great job in maintaining the crowd control, and they know that the alcohol can't go outside of that, and they're very good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we had that in front of site plan this afternoon. We had a few questions like you're answering, or asking, I should say. The bar that was moved, those are containers, easily moved if they want to move them, when they want to move them. We got those details taken care of, so if there's no other questions, I move to approve the project with staff conditions.
I'd second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Anduzzi's outdoor patio with staff conditions. Any more discussion, any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
That'll then be forwarded to the village board meeting for April 27th for final action.
Right. Thank you. 7B, action regarding request to amend the Bay Park Square planned unit development setback along South Oneida Street. Aaron?
This came up, you're probably familiar with it, with the Chick-fil-A review in terms of the setback issue we ran into along Oneida Street, where there's a 35-foot setback along the any arterial or collector street within the village in the B3 zoning district. Within this area, the Chick-fil-A was identified to be about 27 feet from the right-of-way line for the principal building, and then it's a zero setback for the canopy for the drive-through. In terms of the project itself, the PUD amendment would actually take into account the entire length of Oneida Street along the west boundary of the PUD. So it would take into account then two other buildings that are currently within the setback. They are considered legal nonconforming because they became nonconforming as a result, or likely as a result, of the Oneida Street reconstruction a few years ago. But this would bring those two buildings into conformance with our zoning code as well. I guess long-term, just for you to kind of think about a little bit, as a village, we are making a conscious effort to bring our buildings closer to the street, especially in our commercial areas, try to create more of a walkable environment as we move forward. At some point in the not-too-distant future, I may bring forward an amendment for the B3 community business zoning for our setbacks, just to take a look at reducing that to something a little bit less than 35 feet, which seems pretty large at this point. If you have any questions regarding the request for the PUD amendment, I'd be happy to answer them. Scott Richardson from Simon Properties is also on the online meeting as well.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Move to approve as presented. I don't believe there was any staff conditions there.
Second that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the setback amendment for the PUD of Bay Park Square. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And this will be forwarded as well to Village Board for a public hearing and action at the April 27th meeting.
Okay. 7C, action regarding requested site plan review for Merge Urban Development Building Number 1 Climbing Gym at 680 Block Mike McCarthy Way, parcels VA-54-2 and VA-55-A. Karen?
You may recall, this was a couple months ago, we actually approved the site plan for the 5-story mixed-use Merge Urban Development apartment building with mixed-use commercial on the first floor on Mike McCarthy Way on the north side. At that time, there was a kind of a black box or white box area for a future development, which is what you have before you now. It will be called the Odyssey Climbing Gym. It will include basically a 4-story climbing walls, along with some other, I think it's called boulder walls, things like that. It's a pretty exciting project. This is something that will be a draw not just for the Ashwaubenon or Greater Green Bay area. This is really a northeastern Wisconsin draw, and I'd say even beyond that to a degree. The project itself, or the building envelope that you see before you on the elevations, it does consist of concealed fastener metal panels primarily. The different colors you see up there are meant to break up the mass. Unfortunately, it's difficult to incorporate windows into a building where you have climbing walls, basically that go the entire distance to the roof. To break up the mass, they are incorporating Princeton Century ginkgo biloba trees on the
Say
Uh,
that again one more time.
Not a chance. On the Mike McCarthy Way elevation to help break that mass up, in addition to the different coloration of the metal panels. To meet our code requirements, they do include a minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot along the bottom from finished grade, you can see here. The primary entrance on the backside does have the glass right here, as well as a glass wall system. In addition to this, to really kind of provide a little bit of marketing as well as interest, if you recall on the original plan for the building, for the Merge building, there is a kind of a plaza area. There's going to be some small little hills in there to help market this a little bit and promote the idea of the rock climbing and the wall climbing. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, fairly standard. All ground-mounted and roof-mounted mechanical units and associated materials need to be screened from view from the subject property line and right-of-way boundaries. All metal panels are to utilize concealed fasteners. A 3-foot masonry wainscot from finished elevation is required for metal panels. As you can see, that has been addressed already. As the building is greater than 50 feet tall and within Airport Zoning District C, applicant must obtain an application for a height permit and approval from the Green Bay Austin Straubel Airport Director. Meet all other applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other Ashwaubenon municipal ordinances. From public safety, coordinate with Ashwaubenon Public Safety on the potential need for private fire hydrants. That's going to incorporation with the overall project, the rest of the building. Inclusion of a Knox box at the primary entrance for this building as well. From forestry, provide a detailed planting schedule with scientific and common names of proposed plantings for review and approval by forestry. Provide detailed planting diagrams for all landscape areas. And really just a note that the owner will be responsible for all plant materials planted in the right-of-way, with the understanding that the village will not be held responsible for damage caused as a result of normal operations. Please ensure maximum plant height is no greater than 30 inches. Again, these reiterate basically those conditions from the original Merge project. As well as then from bike and ped, inclusion of bike and ped, bicycle parking that meets the recommendations of the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycling Professionals near the retail use, and a second for tenants near the primary entrance. Again, that goes back to the original project. but bicycle parking should be located near the primary entrance for the climbing wall as well. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, Rose Schroeder, as agent for the applicants, is online, as well as the two owners of Odyssey Climbing Gym, that is Ben Ganther and Sam Howard, are also online.
Aaron, is that an amenity to the property that they're building?
So I guess what I'd probably do as
And
far
I
as,
don't think we've ever understood why we have that, or
Sure.
they have that.
I think I'll probably hand that off to either Rose and or Ben and Sam. So I guess Rose, if you wouldn't mind kind of taking it first and then handing it off if you need to.
Mute.
Can you hear me? Sorry about that.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. And also on the line is our the project architects from Slingshot Architecture on as well. I think Dan, I see you just turned your camera on. You can jump in here if you want to, but I can't tell you the exact how it came about, but I think the answer is that the climbing gym will be open to the public and certainly could be used by the residents thereof. Dan, if you want to talk more specifically about that programming, you can. I guess I don't know the full backstory. I only know the site.
Certainly, yeah. No, it's a great amenity to the project and an idea for collaboration. I'll probably kick it over to Ben, really, but from the merge standpoint, they're really excited to have Odyssey as a tenant. Odyssey's vision is about bringing people together to experience and enjoy rock climbing and climbing gyms, and really identified this community as a great place to start. This will be their first site. So they're teaming with Merge to do this. It'll be a public climbing gym, but also serve as the fitness amenity for the tenants. So great opportunity to have a cross culture between the apartment and mixed use building and the tenant. So Ben, do you want to speak a little bit to the group about from your perspective as well? I know that kind of answers the baseline question.
Yeah, you guys did a pretty great job, Dan and Rose, so thank you. So really not too much that I can add there other than to succinctly say, yeah, it is a separate business. So we will be operating a climbing gym out of this space where we will be selling memberships to essentially the climbing gym and the fitness component of our business. There's also day uses. People can come in and just climb for the day or a few hours. So we've got a small gear shop that's a part of it as well. So it is a separate business entity from the overall development, but it serves obviously as a draw and an amenity for the residents within the building as well.
So this is a tenant to the property that you have?
That's correct.
Correct. So they will occupy the about 2/3 of the first floor plan and house this and have this 4-story climbing space. In the rest of the first story plan, there will also be a bouldering wall and then the other amenities that Ben ran through there.
Okay, so will the public need a membership in order to use it, or can people walk off the street and use it?
They won't need a membership, but it will be a fee to climb for the day. So you don't need to be a recurring member to access it, if that answers your question.
Okay, so there will be a fee of some type.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, understanding it now. Okay.
So is there parking spaces available, and what do you anticipate for the amount of people at any period of time that would be in your facilities, and what have you done around the parking? I remember in the project in the beginning, we were talking about parking on the street and things like that, and I just want to re-hit that topic.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit from the development standpoint, and then I think Ben can talk a little bit about what he anticipates for actual user quantities and parking. So the strategy from the development standpoint, there is street parking, of course, and then that's adjacent to the courtyard that'll go between this building, which is phase 1, and the phase 2 building that we plan to start designing after that. Then behind the building, there is parking, and that'll be also available to the climbing gym. So the climbing gym actually has an entrance from the courtyard and from the parking lot side. They anticipate, a lot of their users will probably use the parking lot for convenience because they'll be very adjacent. But the street parking in through the courtyard will also be a really nice entry sequence and very accessible. Ben, do you want to talk a little bit about just kind of the quantities that you anticipate of people and parking on their typical days?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. So like most businesses, there's kind of low and peak hours. And for us, it's kind of earlier in the morning, that crowd that wants to, work out or get a climb in the morning before they head to work, a little bit over the lunch hour, and then in the kind of later evening timeframes, kind of after school, after work sort of timeframe. So that's really where the peaks are in usage. And so we've got, it's just under 12,000 square feet of total space that we're occupying within the building. And when you start factoring in the different routes that we've got planned for what we call the roped climbing area, and then the amount of climbing for the bouldering area, probably all in, if we're at max capacity, I haven't really done the full math there, but our full membership projections, we're projecting about 1,700 members at stabilization. It'll take a few years for us to get to that level. Now, that won't be the amount of people that are in there at one time, but it's probably designed to hold 250 or so people at max capacity, give or take.
Just for the members, I've seen this down in the Milwaukee area, and even for birthday parties. The granddaughters are in there, they bring the cake in and take off the shoes and climb up the wall, run them up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is classified as a gym per se, exercise, a way of exercise?
Correct. Yeah. So a fitness occupancy.
Yeah, I'm not quite familiar, and I don't think I'll be quite familiar with it at my age, but I do make a recommendation that I think our president should do a ribbon cutting there and be the first one to climb to the top. That would be very interesting to see that. Seeing she was the first one to slide down Aaron's Hill.
Yeah, well, we'll wait a while on that, Gary.
Is there any fear involved in this?
Yeah, a little bit of height issues there. So.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll move to approve the project as presented with staff conditions.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the climbing gym at parcels VA-54-2 and VA-55-A with staff conditions. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7D, action regarding a requested 3-lot certified survey map for parcels VA-L184 and VA-L197 at Highland Ridge Golf Course. Aaron.
Okay. Just before I jump into that, just a reminder that the climbing gym will then be forwarded to the village board at the April 27th meeting.
Correct.
So in terms of the 3-lot certified survey map for those parcels, Highland Ridge Golf Course was sold to Trevor Thompson. Mr. Thompson is in the process of working through some development plans for the property. To facilitate those plans, what he's proposing to do is, first of all, create 3 larger lots out of the 2 lots that exist there right now. And what I can do is just zoom in a little bit here, facilitate some discussion. This is the entire property right now. Currently, there are two separate pieces of property here. Basically, it goes something like this, one piece down here. To facilitate the development and maintain a 9-hole executive golf course here, this would be proposed Lot 1. Lot 2 in the middle here is proposed to be developed, and there will be a preliminary plat for your review following this action. And Lot 3 is for a future phase of development to be determined. So really, this helps to divide up the property into, I guess, chunks for golf course and for future development. In terms of the development itself, just one thing to note in terms of Lot 3, it does have adequate frontage off of Lost Lane. There's a small dedication at the end of Lost Lane to create the necessary 90 feet of frontage for the R1 zoning district. So that's why you see a very small public dedication at the end of Lost Lane there. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, from the CSM that was submitted, revising the treasurer certification to remove Patrick Moynihan Jr., who has taken the position with the county. Approval by the Brown County Planning Commission, and then coordination with the Ashwaubenon Public Works regarding the installation of utilities consistent with the Highland Ridge Estates Subdivision Developers Agreement, which is in the process of being developed right now. If you have any questions about the 3-lot certified survey map, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, surveyor Doug Wells, McMahon Associates, is available, as is Trevor Thompson, owner of the property.
Okay. Any questions about the land splitting?
No.
Nope. No questions? Would anybody
I
like?
will move to approve. Let me get the number. Regarding request for a 3-lot survey map of parcels VAL 184 and VAL 197 in Highland Ridge Golf Course.
Second.
Okay, does that include staff conditions?
Yeah, and with staff conditions, yes.
And the seconder agrees with the staff conditions? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the 3-lot CSM for parcels VA L184 and VA-L197 with recommended staff conditions. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, now that the CSM actually is approved by Planning Commission, so that does not get carried through to Village Board.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 7E, action regarding the preliminary plat of Highland Ridge Estates, parcels VA-L184 and VA-L197. Aaron.
Okay, continuing on from the recently approved certified survey map, this is, what you see here is basically Lot 2 of that certified survey map of the golf course that is going to be developed in totality. This is the preliminary plat for the development. The development itself is planned to have 3 separate phases that'll come through as separate final plats. The first phase, you can see up here to the north, there's a dashed line that basically demarcates the final plat area for the first final plat, second final plat, and third final plat. Those will all be approved separately by Planning Commission and Village Board. The preliminary plat is what sets the stage for the final plats, however. And the preliminary plat is really, believe it or not, the most important component of the platting process. In terms of this project itself, there are a total of 134 single-family lots that meet our R1 zoning requirements. The lots vary in size from 11,700 square feet up to just over 39,000 square feet. We have a 10,000 square foot minimum lot size within the R1 zoning district, so they certainly meet and exceed the minimum lot size as well as frontages. This is a unique area to develop in that it is between 2 tributaries to Dutchman's Creek. So there are some significant environmental features that follow the tributary this way, as well as the one through the golf course here. My understanding is that Gary's hit a few of his golf balls in both of those creeks.
That is one condition I was going to bring out in case they dredge it. I get my balls back.
His golf ball.
With the tributaries to Dutchman's Creek, there are delineated and designated FEMA floodplain and floodway, flood fringe and floodway. Under our code, any homes need to be located at least 2 feet, at their lowest opening at least 2 feet above flood elevation for safety purposes. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, there's a few, and it does delve into the development agreement that we are in a process of drafting right now. So just hit on a few of those. Number one, preparation and adoption of a formal development agreement between the Village of Ashwaubenon and Highland Ridge Properties LLC for approval by the Ashwaubenon Village Board. And I'll clarify that the development agreement will work with each final plat, okay? So you won't have a development agreement for the preliminary plat, but you will have, as a condition of final plat approval, the development agreement. That way it clarifies and matches up each one. Specific details to include utility and roadway, design, construction, warranty, and payment. Identify the phased approach to the construction implementation of temporary cul-de-sacs on Hank Avenue, Lucy Lane, Highland Ridge Drive, and temporary roadway connection. So because the project is going to be phased, there will be stub streets. We need to make sure that there are temporary cul-de-sacs at the end of those stub streets for school bus, snow plowing, garbage truck, so on and so forth, to provide adequate turning radius for those. And there's also going to be a temporary roadway connection at Hank Avenue and Ella Joe Way across lot number 88. That's in this corner right here. We didn't want to have two stub streets coming to a pinch point right there. There is a small temporary easement that will connect those roads until such time as they can be connected to the west. At that point, the temporary easement will be released, and that lot then can be developed.
What lot is that, Aaron?
That'll be lot number 88.
88.
It'll be on the far west end of the property. If you look up on screen, I have the hand up.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Develop the process for deeding outlots 1 and 2 to the village for stormwater management purposes, which is consistent.
Can you stop right there?
Yes.
I was just wondering why the outlots were placed where they were, when it looks like there are some lots that cannot be built on. In particular, where are they? Up here. A bigger magnifying glass. I think it says 70, and then across Hank Avenue, across the street, there's another 2 lots that it looks like there's wetlands going right through it. And if those were going to be wetlands, why not make them outlots? Because you can't. It doesn't look like you can build on them.
I'll probably ask Doug if you wouldn't mind addressing that. You should come on up here and then.
Sure, no problem.
State your name and address for the record, please.
You can take your mask off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Doug Wells with McMahon Associates, 1445 McMahon Drive in Neenah.
Thank you.
Yes. The wetlands that you see on them lots right now, we're filing for an exemption. Basically that they're like man-made wetlands and looking to be able to fill them. They're basically a feature of the golf course, which was like ponds and aesthetic stuff. So basically in them areas, we're looking to be able to get rid of them wetlands.
Okay.
And then the purpose or the locations of the 2 outlots were picked. Oh,
No, that answers it.
okay.
It's like, why would you put those as an outlot and still have 3 lots you can't build on? You know?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right. I'll just kind of run through the rest of the recommended conditions of approval. Receipt of comments from Ashwaubenon Public Safety regarding the feasibility of providing emergency services to a subdivision with 1 public street access. Required looping of the public water main system serving the development to ensure there is not a single water feed until future development occurs to the south or west. Concept designs depict a looped water main for Highland Ridge Drive to address that concern. Provision of documentation regarding approval, Mike, for wetland filling on Hank Avenue, Lot 17 from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources prior to construction. Payment of the park fee of $40,229, and approval by the Brown County Planning Commission. If you have any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm sure Doug or Trevor could answer those questions as well.
Just a question. Kids from this area would go to what school?
That's what I was wondering.
This is the West De Pere School District.
Pierce School District.
Is there any public hearing on this prior to a go?
There is not.
None.
There's no rezoning that's required because it was previously zoned R1 residential. And under state statute and village ordinance, there's no requirement for a public hearing for a subdivision plat.
Okay, all right.
With the wetlands and that, and the 2 feet, is there some issue, I don't know the elevations there. Is there some issue where on one side of the street, I'm going to have these houses that are going to be this high, and the other side of the street, I got a bunch of ranches? Because you got to raise up the foundation for the 2 feet so that you don't have the flooding?
Go ahead.
You shouldn't really see too much of that because the road is going to be set at an elevation, and basically the way the design is made to get the drainage to come to the road or to the back. So it should be a consistent
Okay.
grade.
This would be similar to, was it Morning Dove, kind of that area, Crocus Drive.
Okay.
Had a similar concept in there.
Okay.
My one concern when I first saw this was the only one ingress egress, but public safety, I'm sure, will be looking at all that and
And
working through it.
Yeah, and it is a very difficult site to develop because of the waterways and, quite honestly, the existing development that surrounds it.
Right.
I know we did talk about that right away in the beginning, and, is there any way that, and and I'll be honest, I tried looking at 15 different ways, and there's just no feasible way to make a second connection right now.
Right.
Now, in the future, hopefully the property to the west develops and we can see a connection then out to Grant and eventually out to Packerland.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
If there's none, I'll move to approve the preliminary plat map for Island Ridge Estates
I can second that.
With staff conditions?
with staff conditions, naturally, and getting my balls back.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the preliminary plat of Highland Ridge Estates with listed conditions of approval. Any more discussions and questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
This will be forwarded on to village board then for the 27th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 8, items for next agenda. Aaron, you got anything for us next month?
We will. Yep.
We will.
Yep.
Okay.
Just want to note that I did come in a little late because of the connection, but I was participating in the meeting. It's Corey.
Yeah. I think Terry put you down when she saw you up there
Okay,
on the
great.
screen. Yeah. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, nothing else? I'd need a motion to adjourn, please.
Make a motion, we
So
adjourn.
moved, so moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We're done. Thank you.